My sister and I were born on June 2nd, 1992. My biological mother was 16 at the time. My dad was also 16. They were unable to take care of us. My grandparents took over. And the story that I was told from my grandparents that we were very sick when we were first born. My sister and I are twins. They call us the fraternal twins. And they also referred us to as near twins, just like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. When the doctor delivered my sister and I via C-section, the doctor had to pick one of us to be older. And the doctor chose my sister. And he said it was by 1 minute, but we came out at the same time. I guess Danny was that favorite on that day. I was told that my sister and I were very sick and we both had seizures. My grandma kept telling the doctors and talking to my biological mother and saying that there's a church that they might not. My biological mother almost died when she was giving heartbreak to us. My grandparents told that my biological dad was a thief and a drug user and spent most of his life in jail. My grandparents kidnapped me and my sister. From what I was told, my grandpa had Danielle inside of his jacket and my grandma had me inside of her jacket. And they left the hospital. Of course, DCFS found us and DCFS just said, I can't take these children at this home. They are actually in good care. So they just let us go. Chapter 2, Finding Answers. My grandparents had been together since the age of 18. My grandma had her first child at 18. It was a girl and her name was Jennifer. I remember this day, I was in first grade and hearing all the kids saying they're waiting for the moms to come from school. And I asked my grandma, why don't I have a mom? And it was okay that I called my grandma Ma. I remember I went to go visit my biological father in jail. He had an orange suit and my sister and I were asking lots of questions. But everyone had a different story to tell. I was always wondering what was the truth. From my biological parents' standpoint, nothing made any sense to me. My sister and I struggled at school with comprehension and learning skills back and forth at private schools, tutors, homeschooling co-ops. My grandma, what I technically call mom now, was extremely frustrated and with teaching us. My sister Tina, who technically she's my aunt, she was a teacher and decided to help us at school. Tina then told my mom that it was very difficult teaching my sister and I, and she also stated that we should go on medication. We weren't understanding the basic skills. Then my mom took us to a doctor where we got on the proper medication to help us. From what I was told by my mother, that it made us suicidal and she took us off. We had a lot of people come in and help us. We were made fun of. We were bullied. I remember in 4th grade, someone told me if I'd been extra chromosome. I remember going to mom and crying that day and telling my mother that I want to quit school. And that's when she homeschooled us. My mom did everything to give us the best life ever. There was a theater called CYT. My sister and I were in theater from the age of 12 to the age of 18. It was one of the greatest experiences that I ever had. It was a calling for us, singing, dancing, something that made us happy. One day we were out for dinner with my family. I was in the car crying and my mother asked me what was wrong. And I said, Mom, if I have any kids, are they going to struggle? My mom said, all the time. I remember telling my mom I want kids and I want them to be proud of me. My mother's told me that they will, just love them and give them what they need. At the age of 19, I went to a doctor and I got tested for ADHD. I was then put on Adderall and I was diagnosed with severe ADHD. Ever since I was on the medication, I actually performed really good. I could focus. I still had jobs, and I performed really, really well. Chapter 3, my grandparents. I need some water. Hold on. My grandparents had 5 kids of their own, including my sister and I, which makes 7. My mom is the most amazing, soft-spoken woman who has a good heart, who has taught me how to love, how to be patient, how to be kind, and the most important thing is how to accept God as your Savior. We are Bible Baptist believers. My sister and I have grown up in a Baptist church. At the age of 12, I asked God to come into my heart and to save me, make me a child of God. I was baptized by the pastor. Same thing with my sister. Going to church ever since. All this long time, my biological dad was still in jail. He got out one time and came over to the house. I remember putting makeup on his face and laughing and taking a picture by the fireplace. A few years down the road, I got a box full of letters. It was actually hundreds of letters. He was in jail. He wrote me every single day telling how much he loves us. We still have these letters to this day. My grandparents always told me how to save and teach me basic skill, how to function day to day, how to treat a tire, change an oil in case I was single for the rest of my life. He always told me that I'm going to need to do things by myself and I don't have a man and not to depend on a man, and that I could do things by myself and be independent. My grandparents taught me a lot. I can't thank them enough. My grandparents also taught me how to drive. I came home with a book to study, and I studied my brains out. I remember this day, my sister and and my mom took us to the DMV to get our license, and my sister and I passed. I was so proud of myself. I thought I couldn't do it, but we did, and we passed with flying colors. Even though my sister and I got bullied so much, it never stopped us from believing in us that we can't do things in life. My mom and dad my grandparents haven't had the best relationship almost at the age of 60, and they finally separated. My mom and me and Danny, my sister, found a place of our own. This was, I would say, at the age of 22. We were there for a few months, and then my mom kicked us out. My sister and I, we wanted to do things, at 23, and my mom wasn't having it, so she met a man named Bobby, and Bobby lived in Florida, so my mom moved in with him. Chapter 4, Twin Sisters Finding Their Way. My sister and I get our first apartment by ourselves. My sister and I moved in with my dog, Bella. I was a vet tech during these months, and one day we heard kittens meowing. Another coworker of a pet tech that I worked with found them by a dumpster, and there was no mama to be seen, so we took them in, cleaned them up. I took 2 of them, and my coworker took 2 of them. We brought them home. We named them Dolce & Gabbana. There was a karaoke, so basically we run home. We named them Dolce & Gabbana. So Dolce was for Danny, Gabbana was for me. We stayed there for about a year. There was a karaoke bar that was down the street. Something that my sister and I loved to do. We were there every weekend, making friends, doing what we loved to do. It was time to move to a different apartment. Chapter 5, Finding My Love of My Life. All right, when we got settled into my new apartment, I was with my boyfriend named Jesse, who I met on Plenty of Fish. I wasn't really attached to this guy. I thought he was gay because he printed out, what? All he cared about was his baby and his dog. So I started to move on from that relationship. Danielle had some friends that came over on Memorial Day. He had a party. I met a guy named Aaron. Aaron was at the party. Aaron couldn't take his eyes off me the following weekend. It was our birthday due 2nd, and my boyfriend took me to Six Flags, and I did not have fun. Aaron and I were texting that day. Aaron's like, do you want me to come pick you up? And I'm like, no. However, we came back home, and I made the decision on leaving Jesse. I was pretty broken, so I went to the bar. I wasn't really attached to this guy. I thought he was gay. I was pretty broken. Aaron was there. I got up and I sang some songs because it was karaoke that night. Aaron made a comment to one of his friends and he said, I gotta get that girl. She has a voice of an angel. And that night we went home together. I'll let your imagination run wild with what happened that night. I remember Danielle telling Aaron, if you mess with her emotions or if you beat up on her, going after you. My sister has always been so protective of me, but I've always been in abusive relationships. Every guy that I was ever with would either hit me, beat me. I had concussions. I was beat down and bruised. My sister is always going to be there for you. Isn't that the truth? Aaron told my sister that you would never do that, and that he would treat me like how I was supposed to be treated. Danielle was addicted to drugs, and it screwed us over on this place that we were living in, and she left, and I had no idea how to pay for it. I find myself with all 3 of my animals. It was way too much money. During that time, I was with Aaron just for a few months, and he had a house that his mom gave him at the age of 16. He's been living in that house ever since, and now at the age of 30, I asked him if he has any advice. I had no idea what to do. He told me to pack up and come live with him. So that's what I did. And of course, it's on my record I'm not paying rent. So all this time, I still had my dog and 2 cats. I never let them go. Annie had a falling. She got the help she needed, and she went to rehab. She almost died because of the fusing of the drugs. She had no place to go. So Aaron told she can live with us during all this craziness.